Hi everyone, it's day 30, you guys, woo, 30 days of dating myself, 30 out of 90, and maybe even more beyond that. You know, and speaking of that, to a certain extent, like I think I'm gonna be dating myself to a certain extent forever, like now that I know that I can do that, you know? Sorry, I started and went right into a tangent, whoosh, whoosh. I am the Urge Warrioress. Started these videos doing a 90-day challenge to overcome a binge eating problem, which is not eradicated 100%, but I have made really good strides and want to share my my progress with people. And this new 90-day challenge that I'm doing, well, newish, 30 days into it, 30 days of dating myself. And the purpose of doing that is I am going through a divorce right now, and was in back-to-back relationships before that. So, you know, I want to learn how to nurture myself so that when I go into my next relationship, it's a choice and not just like a snap, automatic habit of you know, going from person to person. So in the course of learning how to date myself, I've been doing various things, some fun activities. You know, today I'm having an artist date with myself. After work, I am going to work on a piece of writing. Creative writing is like one of my favorite ways of artistic expression. And I'm gonna work on one of two pieces I've been working on that honor my late father. My father passed in 2014, and one of the ways that I keep his memory alive is doing pieces of writing about him. But for today, I want to talk a little bit about this book called Conscious Uncoupling, 5 Steps to Living Happily Even After. Now, ideally, this book, you know, could be read, you know, like right as a relationship is ending. My marriage ended almost a year ago. Well, legally I'm still married, but the separation, you know, like the end of the relationship happened at the end of last summer. And I just picked up this book within the past month or so. So ideally I should have read this a long time ago, but I have to say some of the suggestions they have for like anybody who is ending a relationship are really, really great. And one of the things they discuss, I want to highlight as my tip for today, for anybody else, you know, going through the aftermath of a divorce and, you know, learning how to, of a divorce or a breakup, you know, and learning how to learn more about how to learn from that experience. This book mentions that when we are young, you know, most of us, gosh, if not all of us, you know, have what the author, Catherine Woodward Thomas, calls a source fracture belief, right? And basically what that refers to is, you know, when things, you know, when things happen to us when we're infants, when we're toddlers, in early childhood, if things that are traumatic, or even basically like anything that should happen that doesn't, or shouldn't happen that does, right? Like if any of those things happen to us, particularly issues regarding like attachments with our caregiver, that like we develop what's called source fracture beliefs, you know, which are beliefs about ourselves and about the world that are skewed to match any kind of like disappointments we had, you know, in early childhood. And I just want to clarify, like, it doesn't necessarily mean that something horrible have had to happen to us. It's just, you know, as infants, we are so sensitive and so needy, you know, as as young people are in that developmental stage, that if we experience anything that like we even perceive as scary, then it really, really impacts our beliefs later on. So, you know, one of my source fracture beliefs, you know, I mentioned my father today. You know, he was a wonderful person, but he, people are complicated, and have a lot of sides to them. And, you know, he was, he had a lifestyle that he had some difficulty, giving up once we had kids, and once he had kids, and he, was absent a lot, you know, for those like crucial early developmental stages in my life. So even though I don't remember them, what I'm learning about it is that it's highly likely that because of what was going on then, I developed what this is referring to as like a source fracture, And the belief of that source fracture was like, I'm not a priority. Like, you don't have a lot of time. Because you're not around me much and you have an inconsistent presence in my life. The message I likely internalized was that I was not a priority. There was something wrong with me. Like I wasn't good enough to get that attention. And I have other source fractures too, but this one I think is the most crucial to the work that I'm doing right now. And it explains my pattern of going from relationship to relationship, because being alone would trigger that source fracture of I am not lovable. I'm not a priority. And the priority thing like sticks with me so much because there is self-care that I have neglected before to pursue these external relationships. And it's like, girl, have you like not even noticed that, you're not treating yourself as a priority? So all of these things, even when I come on here and talk about like seemingly silly things, like dousing myself in coconut oil and like having artist dates, but this is real stuff, because I never like on a daily basis was like, all right, like I'm going to do me now, and whenever I'm in my next relationship, whether it be like day 91, I'm like, all right, I did it. I know I can be on my own. Like, let's go in. Or if it's like years later, like I want to continue being in a relationship with myself too. Because I don't want to get lost in needing it from somebody else to like, to mend my source fracture. I want to learn how to source fracture myself. And it's like, once I make myself a priority, I will attract somebody who wants to make me a priority as well in their life, and vice versa. Once I make myself the priority, I'm going to be in a place where I understand what it is like to be loyal to someone, because I've been loyal to myself, and then I can practice that in the context of relationships with other people. So that is my Friday fun for today. Again, if you benefited from anything with what I said today, like source fractures, anything, definitely check this book out, Conscious Uncoupling by Catherine Woodward Thomas. And have a good rest of the Friday, and I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. Thanks.